what is actually mathematics. So we start with something called axiom. Axiom means what? Axiom means it's always true. We assume it's true. That means this is something you cannot say wrong. You just say, okay, we accept. If you don't agree, you can challenge it, but then actually you will develop new mathematics. We'll talk about it later. What is definition? Definition means something A defined by B or using B to define A. And we usually write DEF because just don't want to spell the whole word. Theorem, what's a theorem? Theorem means something that is proven to be true. And there are two special cases. One is called lemma and one is called corollary. Basically, lemma is used to prove this guy, and this guy will prove this guy. So what are these? These are just small theorems. That means some theorems are very important, some are not so important, so we give them special name. And here are some short form. You don't need to remember this table now. You will learn most of the symbol when you see it. And here are some Latin. And here are also some funny symbol. You will also learn them when you use them. So these are commonly seen symbol. And if you want to know 99% of the symbol, click this link. There will be a document, 40-something page with all the symbols. Some of them you never see before. Proposition. So the learning objective today is basically understand what is simple propositional logic. A proposition start with letter P, so I just write P, lazy, okay? It's a statement, English sentence. We also call it logic variable. So that means what? You don't need to think, oh, this is something new. No, it's the same thing as fx you learn in high school. So now we don't talk about fx, we talk about fp. Okay, so let's say p is x. And this p has a funny property. So in high school you learn fx, and x can be number or angle, theta, degree, right? Now this x, I write p here, have only two things. Either true or false, and nothing else. What does it mean? First of all, this true, I can write number 1. I can write a T. T stands for true because the first letter is T. Or I write I, okay? False, I write false, okay? Or I write F, or I write 0, or I write O. These are just notation. That means what? If I want, I can draw a chicken to represent a true, and I draw a dog to represent a false. It doesn't matter. So it's just a symbol. So in other words, a proposition is what? Something that only has two values. Either something called true or something called false. Whether or not I represent true or false by whatever symbol doesn't matter. I can draw a chicken or I can draw a dog. And no others. This is very important. Why? Because this is called law of excluded middle. This is axiom of logic. So this is now why I'm saying you have something called axiom. What's axiom? Axiom is something taken to be true. We don't argue this is false. So what is axiom? Axiom is like atom in chemistry. Of course, you know, oh, hydrogen atom, I can break it down to proton, neutron, and then proton you can keep breaking down something called quarks, and then quarks you keep breaking down. No, we don't talk about this. We just say, okay, atom is the most basic building block. That's it. Physics will say, no, you are wrong. I can still split it. Okay, then that's physics business, not chemistry business. Okay? So for us, axiom is something we assume is true. And here's the funny thing. Axiom can be intuitive or non-intuitive. For example, there's an axiom of choice. This is the hardest axiom to understand. You probably don't understand what the heck is going on. Doesn't matter. That means what? You don't understand or not, it doesn't give a f. Okay? So this is the thing. Okay? And what is the axiom logic? You have a bunch of axioms, but I just list some of them. For example, A equal A. Common sense, right? A of course equal A. A cannot be not equal to itself, right? So this is axiom. And then this is the second sentence. You may say that, okay, A equal A makes sense. So why I mentioned this is not equal, not A. This symbol means not, okay? Isn't this sentence imply this? No. In this sentence, I just said, I assume A equal A is true. Did I say this? No. If you think that from this sentence, you can give me this sentence, prove it. Let me tell you a fact. If I have this, I cannot prove this. I need to say this is true also. So these two sentences are independent. And there are also other things. This one is the most important one. It's called law of excluded middle. Any statement can either be true or false. So this is the reason why when we define a proposition, I said proposition is just something have two values, either true or false, and not others. That means you cannot be true and false at the same time. Here's important. I just said that a proposition is a statement that is either true or false. I didn't say we know exactly what is the value of the P. It can be true, it can be false. And I also said that P takes a value either true or false. I didn't say I know the true value now. For example, I'm your father. This is a proposition, right? The true value is false. I'm not your father, and we know now, okay? And 1 plus 1 is 2. Is it a true proposition? Yes, because this guy can only take true or false. Nothing else, right? So, it's a proposition, and the truth value is true, and you know it many years ago. And then sine 2 theta equal to sine theta cosine theta is a proposition because it's either true or false, right? And you know it when you learn trigonometry in high school. So this is a proposition. Okay, now blah, 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 blah. This is called axiom of choice. Is this a proposition? This is a proposition. Do you know the true value? You don't know. Let me tell you. If this thing we consider something called ZFC, then this is true. If we consider ZF without a C, then we don't know. That means what? There are some important point I want to point out here is that I just said a proposition is something you can say true or false. I didn't say you know the true value is true or false. You can know it today or tomorrow or you never know. So that's the definition. This thing is an example. And then here is another example. X squared plus 1 equals 0. There are two roots. Well, it depends on the context. If we consider real number, there's no real number square plus 1 equals 0, right? But if we consider complex number, then this is true. That means this is a proposition. In real number, it's false, but in complex number, it's true. Okay? So this is context dependent. And here's another one. You will die tomorrow. This is also a proposition. It's either true or false, right? This example is to show that a proposition is something either true or false. I didn't say we know the true value. Same, Donald Trump will be the next US president. We don't know, but is this a proposition? It is a proposition. And then P equal MP. I can tell you this is the hardest mathematical problem in the world. If you know is it true or false, you get a Fields medal. So this is an example saying that there are some proposition, it's a proposition. That means either true or false, but we don't know. Maybe we don't know now. Maybe we can know it 10 years later. It may be 1 million years later, or maybe forever. We can never know. Okay, that's the definition of a proposition. And here's the funny thing. Your hair is not blue. If I add an adjective not here, this is also a proposition, right? If, let's say I point to this guy, I say your hair is not blue, then this proposition is true because your hair is not blue. But if I didn't point to anybody, then this you is not specified. This is a funny thing. Then this is the same as X hair is not blue, but X I haven't specified. Then this sentence is not a proposition. This is a predicate. We will talk about it next class. Okay, so today is about proposition. Proposition means either true or false. That's it. And what about non-proposition? For example, hi there. This is not a proposition. 3 plus 2 is also not a proposition because this is incomplete. If I'm saying 3 plus 2 equal to 6, then it is a proposition and the value is false. Do you love sushi? This is a question. Question is not a proposition. It's not a statement. So therefore, it's not a proposition. I am lying. This is called liar paradox. This is also not a proposition. Why? Because this proposition can be true and wrong at the same time. And by law of excluded middle, I said a proposition is either true or false, nothing else. Liar paradox can give you both. It do not fulfill the definition of proposition. That's why this is not a proposition. And then now, short notation. What does it mean? Suppose I have this big chunk of thing, and I'm too lazy. I don't want to set this, so and I just write a P, and then 2 dots. This means what? This means this big chunk of thing define this P. So that means when I say P, it means the sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus and so on until plus n equal to n times n plus 1 and then divided by 2. Wow, talking about this sentence take me 2 seconds or 3 seconds. Oh, so time consuming. I just say P, done. People are lazy, so I don't talk about this. I talk about P, but they're the same thing. I just don't need to rewrite the whole thing again and again. And here's the funny thing. I'm saying I know the value of n. Suppose n is 5, then I'm saying 1 plus 2 up to 5 equal to 5 times 6 divided by 2. But suppose n is unknown, then this is a predicate, not a proposition, because we have uncertainty, because we don't know what's the n. So this is something different.